what's up guys, it's Kelly, and today I'm talking about The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime. For those of you that don't know, this is one of my all-time favourite books. I think I've done a favourite standalones video, and if I did then I should have mentioned it in that. If I didn't, this is going to be embarrassing. Regardless of whether or not I mentioned it in that video, it's one of my all-time favourite books. I love everything about it. I think it's brilliantly written, I love the story, I love the characters, some of the characters. On the whole, I just think that it's an absolutely fantastic book. So when Alan asked me if I wanted to go and watch the show, I definitely couldn't say no. I actually haven't even seen the film yet, which is shocking, so I really didn't know what to expect going into it. So before I go into my thoughts on the production, I'm just going to give you guys a brief synopsis of what it's about. The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime follows a 15-year-old boy called Christopher Boone, who has quite severe autism, and the book and the play open with him in his neighbour's garden, and her dog Wellington has been killed with a garden fork, and she immediately assumes that it's him, possibly fairly because he is standing above the dog that has just been murdered, but also unfairly because it's quite clear that one of the reasons that she thinks that he's killed the dog is because she doesn't really understand what is going on with him. She thinks that the fact that he's autistic means that he has something more severe wrong with him than just having trouble communicating with the world. And Christopher didn't kill Wellington because he really liked Wellington. Wellington was his friend. That's how he ended up in the garden at midnight trying to visit the dog. So Christopher decides that Wellington's murder should be treated as seriously as the murder of any person, and he wants to do some detective work and catch Wellington's murderer. Partly because, as I said, he thinks that it should be taken seriously, but also because he figures that the person that killed Wellington could just as easily go and kill anyone else on the street, and he wants to make sure that this person is stopped. He goes on this little adventure of doing his detective work, trying to figure out what happened to this dog, and a whole bunch of things happen along the way. It's going to be difficult to talk about it without giving spoilers. I am going to try, but I will probably end up giving some mild spoilers away. So I was very intrigued to see how it would be adapted. I couldn't fathom how they could take this book and actually put it on stage, because not that much happens, and so much of the book, and so much why I love the book, is the fact that it just takes place inside Christopher's mind. Like, there isn't that much story there to enjoy. I think to love the book, you have to love being inside Christopher's head. So I was very intrigued and a little bit wary of how it was going to be adapted in a way that would still be interesting and that I would still enjoy, and that wouldn't lose the essence of everything that I thought was so great about the book. And they did a fantastic job. I was absolutely blown away. Exceptional is the only word that I can use to describe it. It was perfect in every way. It's a cast of only 10 people, and the set basically just consists of a wall made up of cubes, and like a staircase built out of the cubes, and 7 or 8 cubes that sit on the stage and are moved around as necessary. So it's a very, very low-key set. So rather than using an elaborate set, they use projection, and they move the cubes around, and they use props to convey where the characters are in the story, what's going on. So production-wise, I thought that the whole thing was done brilliantly. It's not a story that needs a lot. You know, it's a story that the essence comes from the characters, the magic comes from the characters, and I was really glad that they didn't detract from that by including a whole bunch of unnecessary elements. I thought the simplicity of the set contrasted so well with the complexity of the characters, and Kai Brummer, who plays Christopher Boone, is phenomenal. It's kind of average length for a show, it's about 2 hours, and I was completely mesmerised by him for the entirety of it. His acting was phenomenal. I cried 3 times throughout the show. When you're playing a character like that, I would imagine it's very difficult to get the balance right between accurately showing the issues that the character has, but still doing it in a sensitive way. and I just thought that he handled it spectacularly, and he was just amazing. Like, he would be enough to get me to go and watch a show in future. The rest of the cast was phenomenal as well. There were only 4 people who only played one character, so Christopher, his dad, his mum, and Siobhan, who is Christopher's teacher at school, were the only people who were single cast. The other 6 members of the cast all played between like 3 and 6 or 7 characters, and yeah, they all just did a really fantastic job. It was a very, very emotional play for me to watch, because it's a book that means so much to me, because it's a book that I love so much, and a book that made me feel so many things just reading it. Seeing it performed was just an entirely new experience that I couldn't have fathomed how deeply it would affect me, but from the moment the play started, I felt so emotional. And then, yeah, I had 2 moments that just brought tears to my eyes, but there was one moment where I just sat and cried for like 5 minutes, because it was so intense and so beautiful and so heartbreaking, and so far exceeding my expectations. Even Alan, who didn't enjoy the book, we went to watch the show because he knows how much I love the book. He really enjoyed the show and said that he thought that the story worked a lot better in the play format than it did in the book. He thought that it brought it to life in a really interesting way, and it gave it a lot more dimension. He said that until he watched the play, he hadn't realised that his problem with the book was that he found it quite flat. So even if you're someone who read the book and didn't particularly enjoy it, I think you'll still find something in the production that you can be really impressed by and that you can find really enjoyable. Yeah, overall, I want to go watch it again. I was just completely blown away. I thought it was so wonderful. So if you get the opportunity to go and watch it, I highly, highly recommend that you do. It's showing at Theatre on the Bay in Camps Bay. It has been on since the 22nd of September, and it's running until the 3rd of November, I believe. I'll see if I can find a link to buy tickets. And I could be wrong, but I think that after that it is going to Joburg, so if I can find details about the Joburg shows, I'll leave links to that in the description as well. Seriously, I highly, highly, highly recommend it. Fantastic production, and by that I mean set production, not the production as a whole. Amazing cast, a story that I love, and that just was amazing, and a very accurate adaptation of the book. There were a lot of scenes that were taken exactly from the book. There were so many moments where even their dialogue, I was like, they didn't rewrite this. It's directly from the book. Like, it was perfect. It was exactly what I didn't know I wanted. I can't recommend it highly enough. If I had to give it a rating, it would without a doubt be 5 out of 5 stars. If you have already seen it, or you've seen a production of it, I'd be interested to hear your thoughts. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and until next time, stay curious. Bye!